Hello, ladies. Welcome back to another episode of Celebrate You. This is Moni Millares here, and today we have a very special guest with us, Adriana Carballo. Hello, Adriana. How are you today?
Hello, Moni. I'm very good. And thank you. Super happy and excited and grateful to be here with you today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to have you here. Before I tell our listeners what's the topic for today, I have a little ritual that it's every single episode I like celebrating something in life. So I'm going to ask you before I introduce you and everything, what are you celebrating today?
Wow, there's so many things I would like to say, but I live in Denmark and the sun is shining and it's a beautiful day today where I'm going to be doing a few things, few of my favorite things, and they involve play and music and movement. So I would like to celebrate my body. I would like to celebrate um, the weather, and I would like to celebrate music and play because I have been earlier today, like dusting off my hula hoops and just getting very excited because it's the first class that I'm going to be teaching in like what seems to be ages. So
Awesome.
I feel like that's a good thing to celebrate and to celebrate connection. I
Worth
love these things.
celebrating.
Yeah.
Yay! On my side, I am celebrating that I've had this previous weekend. It was a weekend of rest. I slept a lot. So I am celebrating the concept of rebalance, recharge, and sleeping whenever you want.
Oh yes.
So,
Amen.
yes, that.
Sleep, yeah, that's a good thing. And rest, very important. Definitely something to celebrate.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So let's get started. Ladies, the topic for this week is gratitude.
Mm.
Gratitude is a very, very powerful emotion, and it's been proven like by science. It's not only the hippie, like the fluffy thingy. It is proven by science that gratitude is a very powerful emotion. So before we go into it, Adriana, it's basically just so that you know a little bit about her. Adriana is a mother of two. She also runs a nursery in her house, which is amazing. I'm like so impressed on how she does all of that. And she has like years of experience when it comes to law of attraction, gratitude, shamanic stuff. Like she's super cool. So, Adriana, before we go all the way into gratitude, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Wow, yes, 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 yes. What can we tell about ourselves when people ask us, right? There's so many things also, but I would say, yeah, what can I say? I am an entrepreneur. I uh I have like this big passion for so many different things, and it shows in all the different things that I do. Yeah, I'm a mother. I'm originally from Costa Rica. I currently live in Denmark, and I have lived here for what is now 17 years. Oh my God, time flies. Um, I
Wow.
um, I came to Denmark because of work. My background is actually in the tourism industry, in logistics and operations, and I used to work on a cruise ship when I was younger. So that experience is what actually brought me to Denmark to work for a company that was working with cruise ships. And yeah, I met my husband here, the one that later became my husband. I got married, I had kids, and that background, that profession, let's say in tourism, evolved into personal development. Everything that started from when my marriage ended. And this is actually where gratitude came into my life. Like I was looking for help, for support of how to deal with that situation that for me back then felt like the end of the world. It was really very difficult for me to deal with that. And I was constantly looking for help.
Yes.
And that's how I came across the law of attraction. And, I
Yeah.
was just like really desperate looking for things on the
And
internet.
yes,
Yeah,
let me interrupt you there. Let me interrupt for a second. I remember when we met I think it was in Thailand. We met in
it
Awesomeness
was.
Fest. And how I met
Yeah.
Adriana, basically, yeah, she was just going through her divorce. And like in all these seminars and festivals, there's always this culture of sharing. Who wants to share? And then I was sitting like in the back of the room or something, and this lady started sharing about her journey throughout her divorce, and like she was from Costa Rica, and I was like, oh, I have to meet her. It's the Latin thing in the middle of Asia. uh, and yeah, I remember like what she said that day was very, very powerful. And the woman that you become in the past, because this was like years ago,
It
and
was
the
years.
woman that you become in these years, it's like extraordinary. It's been amazing to see your journey and how you've evolved.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah,
Moni. And it's
cool.
true. And you know what? Now we're like moving from that whole more about me stuff, but it's the same. We're going to be talking about all these things. But you know what? I just wanted to say that particular trip to Thailand, that was really my very, very first incredible experience in manifested. And I'm just going to tell you very, very quickly, because I was starting to learn about the law of attraction and listening to all these things, and at the same time going through all this stuff with my divorce. And I really didn't have money to go to Thailand, and I wanted to go. And so I made this very little, like small pieces of paper, like rectangular pieces of paper, and I wrote a number 1,000 on each of them. And 1,000 was to represent 1,000 Danish krona, Danish crowns in that moment. And I would literally count them, put them in a little envelope, and I will literally count, like take them out and put them down, say, okay, this is 1,000. So this is, what I need to pay for this for this is my plane ticket, and this is
Wow.
what I'm going to use for the hotel, and this is what I'm going to use for this and this and that. And um and just a few days after, I had this home in Costa Rica where I used to live before I came to Denmark. And after some years, I decided it was time to really let go of that. And because I was not there, I needed someone to take care of the home and stuff. So anyway, my sister ended up buying that home, and I got money. And so with the sale of that house and the deal that I made, I was able to go to Thailand, and it was something that just happened in very little time, because I don't think I have even gotten the no, yeah, because I applied, and immediately I got like this thing that I needed to schedule an interview with someone to see if I was awesome enough. And
Yeah.
on that call, he said, well, we want you in, so you just need to put the money down. It's like, oh my God, I don't have the money. And I said, can you give me 4 days or something like that? And he said, yes, sure. And in those 4 days that happened, and I was able to do it. So it was actually very cool.
Amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good story. Okay, so let's get into it. Gratitude. I
Mm.
am like I when I was thinking about making a podcast about gratitude, you were the person that came to my mind. That's it. And you used to have a project. I don't know if it's still going on, but you used to have a very powerful, interesting project called Gratitude in Motion. Can you
Yeah.
explain to us, like, why gratitude? What's the power of gratitude?
Well, Moni, when you ask me about this and what can we talk about, and yes, gratitude has always been that subject there. I truly believe that it's a beautiful topic to start anything. I mean, I hope it really makes sense as I'm saying it, because um, when we want to start something new, when we want to create something new or improve something in our life, we tend to want things because we believe we don't have them, that we're not enough. Like, I want something because I don't have it. And it's actually not the right way to ask for things. We have to really start from that. Like, the foundation should be a state of gratitude that really makes us feel and think and really understand that we are enough in this moment, that we have enough, that we know enough. And from this space of being enough and having everything that we need, we get to choose how to be better and what new things to create, and all this. So gratitude as such is a powerful emotion. And I can tell you, when I started, it really started because I was in my desperation with all this with my marriage. I'd listened to this group of people, experts at the time that I never heard of before, including Jack Canfield, including Joe Vitale, who is very, at that time, was like very big, these guys about the law of attraction and stuff, including Marcy Shimoff from Happy for No Reason. And they were all asked, if you were to share your one daily habit that you would give your happiness and your success in your life, what would that be? And they all said gratitude. Everyone, they all said they take a minute every day to journal gratitude, and they all talked about that. And I was like, oh, until that moment, I really felt like I was a very grateful person. But my thought at the time was, I feel very far away from happy and successful at the moment. So I better get started to, check on my gratitude. And I started writing. And what were like small sentences became overwhelming feelings, like, oh my God, I just want like 2 hours every day to sit and journal because I was just writing so much.
Oh,
And
wow.
then yeah, and then I realized that there's a whole science behind gratitude. It has been studied. It's actually called the science of gratitude. Studies that have shown how it improves our health, improves our mind, improves our social skills. It's incredible. So it's really a beautiful
Okay.
tool.
Okay, I have a question for you. So I've heard this so many times, and I do it myself as well. This idea of writing your gratitude list every day. But sometimes it just feels like, oh, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my job, I'm grateful for my family, done. You know,
Hmm.
it's just like a list. And but that's not where the power is coming from. How do we go from just writing a list of 5 things that come to our mind that are the obvious ones to
Hmm.
feeling the feeling when we're writing about our gratitude for everything that we have?
There are, that's a very good question, Moni, because a lot of people think that. A lot of people go into that, like, oh my God, I write, and then it just becomes very monotonous, and I need to write again. So it's really, I would say, don't just write, I am grateful for um, coffee, or I am grateful for, let's say, I'm grateful for Monica. Like, I could tonight go and write on my journal, I am so happy and grateful for Monica and for our conversation today. That might not really make me feel so much. Like, it would be nice, but it will be just coming like from my head, like, oh, that's a nice thing to be grateful for. But if I push
Yeah,
myself
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
saying, why? Why? What happened? Why is it? I'm grateful for Moni because of all the giggles that we had during our conversation, of all the trials that we made before we actually started recording, all the things that came out during this recording. I'm grateful for Moni because of whatever came out during our conversation. That, just as I am saying that, I begin to get goosebumps in my body. And that is where the energy, that's where
Oh,
the magic begins to happen. So we want to go deeper into that, and I would recommend, there is Robert Emmons, Dr. Robert Emmons has written a book that it's called Gratitude Works. And on this book, he gives a 21-day challenge where there's 5 different exercises that are repeated, or maybe 7 because it's 3 times 7. I can't remember exactly. But it's like, for example, the first day you let me just think about one of those that are like very, okay, he explains like when you are grateful for something, when you feel so filled with gratitude, you want to give forward in one way or the other. So how can you give
Mm.
forward? Or how can you begin to do something? And I remember when I did that, I felt like I wanted to go into the city and pick up bicycles on the city, because in Copenhagen, everybody bikes. So there's so many bicycles on the floor, on the ground. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go out there and I want to pick up bicycles for people. And it just made me feel very good. And then there's an exercise, for example, like um, think about this person as if it wasn't in your life. Like think about your husband, think about your kids, think about this person, and then just begin to feel the gratitude for the moment that you actually met this person. What would have happened if you haven't met this person, if this person
If
was
you
not in your life?
didn't.
So I would say whatever you write, you want to write with the purpose, with the intention. Intention is very powerful to feel goosebumps in your body and eventually tears. Like if you can just begin to cry
Oh.
because of all the things that you're feeling, then you're getting it.
Yeah,
Then you're
I
there.
haven't done that. I'm on. I think I haven't cried when I write my gratitude lists.
Well, then
And I'm
it's
a
it's
crier, but no, I haven't done that.
it's that, because then that's like you know that your body is filled with that emotion, and that's what makes the difference. Even though writing things is also good, it is also
Yes.
proven that just making a list of 10 things improves so many others. So
Yes. Now that I say that I haven't cried, I am doing an experiment right now. Of course, I'm in Malaysia. It's a Muslim country mainly, so now we are going through Ramadan, and then in the Islamic religion during Ramadan, like people pray 5 times a day. Well, in
mhm.
Islamic religion in general, but during Ramadan, people do take the time to pray 5 times a day. So I am not Muslim, but I am mirroring some of the practices. And actually, what I've been doing like these days is 5 times a day I stop and I pray in the way of saying thank you. Thank you,
Mm,
God. Thank you, universe, for whatever comes to my mind. And what I found is that instead of writing a gratitude list from my brain in the morning or in the evening, like doing it in the middle of the day, because that's not my usual practice, like stopping whatever I'm doing a few times a day and just like sitting down and saying, wow, thank you.
mm,
It's been very, very powerful,
yeah.
actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. When I was starting um, my little course on the Hubyogini practice, because one of the many things that I do, I'm an instructor in this practice that combines hula hoop dance with hatha yoga and mindfulness meditation. So I remember that the first pose of one of the sequence is called the centered pose, and it's a pose where you're standing inside your hula hoop and you are really standing strong. For those that do yoga, it's like the pose that would be the same as the mountain pose, where you're standing. The difference is that you're holding a hula hoop in your hands. So your posture, your body is straight. You're feeling your feet on the floor. You're super straight up, and this is the posture that allows you to observe the world around you, and choose that you can respond to life rather than react to life and the changes and the ups and downs that are around you. So we were actually asked or invited to put a little reminder on our phones and every hour stop and find our center pose, because the center pose is just a physical, an external pose, because we're using our body. It's this physical pose. We're stacking our body in this posture that we call the present moment awareness. But it's also an internal posture where we go within and we find our center. And from there, we remember that there, in this moment, I can stop. I can feel what I'm feeling. I can observe what I'm thinking, and I can remember. And it's a practice. I can remember to practice that I get to choose how I move forward. So I can stay in this center pose as long as I need before I move again. So that you're doing, that of really stopping during the day is so powerful also for the brain, because the brain creates repetition, creates transformation through that repetition and that practice of things. So that's very beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Oh, that's a beautiful point. Like at the end of the day, like our brain is just a bunch of wires wired together. It's a program. So we can reprogram our
Hmm.
brain with consistency, practice, and repetition, repetition, repetition.
Yeah.
So many people who have watching me, like following me just as friends, or like, like on my Facebook, they are like, oh, Monica, but it's so easy for you. Like you're hyperactive all the time. You're happy. No, I'm not hyperactive all the time. I'm not happy all the time. But what I do acknowledge is that I've spent many years doing
Mm.
this type of work. So for me right now, it doesn't require a lot of effort for my brain to look into the positive straight away, because it's just wired. It's just my
Exactly.
brain patterns have been wired in such a way that they go, my default is positive rather than my default is negative.
Oh my
So
God.
it's the same with gratitude. The
Oh,
more
I
that we
love that.
practice it, the easier it gets.
Yeah, and it's exactly now you touch another good point, because that's exactly what happens. We are reprogramming our brain. We have all these neural pathways, all these small ways in our brains, and we just begin to create new ones. And suddenly that becomes our new way of being. And this is like when we think about the different benefits and all the studies that have been made around gratitude, they have shown that people that keep a gratitude journal, they are in a percentage looking at it, it's around 25% happier than those who do not follow a journal. Then when it
Happier.
comes to the physical, happier, yeah. And then the same study shows that they have this, I believe it was like 33%, that 33% more exercise. And so when it comes to, for example, the physical benefits, the immune system is better, the blood pressure is lower. And I actually wanted, because I made this infographic, but I mean, I know we cannot like show it as such, but I would like to send it to you. Um, so
Yes,
people
please.
get to sleep longer. Now that we're talking about sleeping, I remember Dr. Emmons, he said, if you want to sleep better, stop counting sheep and count your gratitudes before you go to bed. So
Oh, that is beautiful.
it's so beautiful. And then psychologically talking, then people are more optimistic and they're more happy, and the level of positive emotions is also higher. And this can sound so difficult for some people. It's like, oh yeah, you know what, right? But it just happens. We just have to do it. We have to practice. It's a practice, and just by practicing we get to know what it is that it does. It's exactly as you said, it just happens. I can tell you, this is maybe a crazy little example. I'm going to bring you into my life when I was, back to the divorce and stuff. I remember sometimes when I was going through that, like I would have a conversation with my husband at the moment and stuff, and he would leave, and I would literally just lean on the door, on the main door to our apartment, and I will slide down until I would sit on the floor and would just cry and cry and cry, and it was just
Oh,
difficult. It was very
oh,
difficult, and sometimes, you know, I it's like situations and things that happen, and I feel there's like this part of me that really, I swear to God, I would love to just go back to just leaning on that door and sitting down and cry and make like a big pity party of myself. But I just can't. Sometimes, yes, sometimes we cry, we have to cry, we have to allow our emotions and stuff. But the difference is that it's like our brain gets on our side. We get to just like, well, no, Adriana, come on, up again. You can do this. Or these emotions, just it's
yes, there's
easier. It's
something good
faster.
coming.
Exactly. It's faster. It's easier for me to look at the good side of whatever is happening. And yes, I do get to play the victim many times as well. And I do get to say like, oh, I just want to be like this. But sometimes it's just not possible. It's just you keep going and in a very different way. And then now we're talking about the benefits of gratitude, socially speaking, especially now in all these times where we are socially distanced and so many people are not able to go outside. And for that, I feel very grateful and lucky to be here in Denmark where I am. I have so many friends that are like so many, just not even able to go so much outside. um, we tend to be more outgoing, more forgiving, less lonely and isolated. So I wanted to touch on that because now that we might perceive what is happening as, oh my God, I am so alone all the time and we're isolated and stuff, a lot of people might not actually have the possibility to look at, well, even though I'm at home, I can reach out to others. And
Yeah, that's a very, very good point because,
um,
like, especially now during COVID times and the pandemic, it's like like we're all feeling the impact of being isolated. So that's a very good point that you brought up because it's like, how can gratitude play a role in these times, basically?
Yeah, I mean something as little, but it's very big as technology. Really acknowledging the power of I mean the possibility that we have to connect. For me to be able, my son has his birthday at the beginning of April. So last year when it was his birthday and the whole thing was starting, I mean, we didn't get to do a gathering or anything, but you know what I did? It just came to me that I could actually make a little surprise party for Marco with my family in Costa Rica. And I sent a message to all of them. And Monica, I haven't done that in 15 years. I have not thought that I could actually send a message to my grandparents, to my dad, to my mom, to my sisters, to everyone, and gather all of us together on a Zoom call. That happened because of what we were going through, you know? And then Marco had like this surprise, and everybody was there, and it was so cool. And reaching out. So, gratitude, that is one of the things that we could, think about. It's worth practicing. And again, I cannot say I understand because here in Denmark, it has been very free, let's say. I have had the opportunity, but and I know it's difficult for many people, but it's a practice. We get to choose if, okay, now I can practice. How can I actually meet people? Can I actually call my friends, or can I actually ask for help? Begin to see who can talk. So that being more outgoing is something that is a social benefit of gratitude, and being more helpful, being more compassionate, being more forgiving. Forgiving is a good thing.
Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful thought. Let me build on that. How does gratitude and forgiveness, how do they relate to each other?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so
In your
forgiveness
opinion,
is
of
really
course.
not my my topic as such, but I'm going to go back to that that what did I say? This call that I told you at the beginning, that I listened to Jack Canfield and Marcy Shimoff and all these people. So everybody said gratitude, but Marcy Shimoff, who is the one of the author of Happy for No Reason, she said gratitude and forgiveness. And this was the first time that
Mm.
I heard about that. And again, I was with my whole drama with my ex-husband and all that at the moment. And she said, um, I want you to practice this. And then she introduced this. It's a Hawaiian technique. It's called Ho'oponopono or Ho'oponopono, where you say four things. You say,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, and you close with thank you. And she said, I don't want you to think so much about this. I mean, we could go into a whole thing of why these four things and what's the technique and all that. I just want you to try it. Do this 5 minutes for 7 days. Think about one person, think about a situation, and just sit there and
Yes.
say, I'm
Like,
sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, and feel that thank you and feel that. And yeah.
yeah, one of the practices that I've been doing, it's so interesting that you touch on that because like one of the practices I've been doing for the past month and a half, consistently so, but like have been doing, I wake up, I go to YouTube and I play exactly that song. That it's like uh basically I love you, I'm sorry, I love you, uh thank
Please
you.
forgive me.
What is it? Please forgive me.
Mhm.
Yes. And it's
Yeah.
so beautiful to start the day with that because sometimes I find, actually, as we speak about it, sometimes I find that for lack of forgiveness is what stops us from from being grateful. And it's mainly, many times, it is not forgiving ourselves for
Mhm.
doing stuff or for not doing stuff, for, supporting things that we shouldn't have had. And
Mhm.
instead of saying no, or, like just what it, or having said something to someone, like whatever it is that we are holding on to from our own perspective, the moment that we are able to forgive ourselves, then it kind of opens the door to seeing all the blessings and being more grateful for what we do have, because then we move from a frequency of being stuck in that, it could be anger or resentment or guilt, and the moment that we
Mhm.
forgive, especially ourselves, like those energies and those feelings kind of go away or are a little bit smoother, and then we open space for more beautiful feelings like
Mhm.
gratitude and love.
And there's a couple of things that just came to me when we were saying that, Moni, and the question that you asked me at the beginning about forgiveness. I believe it's Marianne Williamson. She's very well known for her books, and she talks a lot about the Course of Miracles. And there was this one short episode with Oprah Winfrey where she talks about forgiveness, and she says the thing is that a lot of people confuse forgiveness with um, I don't remember, I don't know what the right word in English is, but with kind of like accepting that what the other person did is wrong, for example. So if I forgive him or her, is because I'm agreeing that what they
Can you
did
repeat that again?
is right. I said wrong, but
Oh,
it's right.
oh,
So is that's what stops us
yeah.
from forgiving, because we say, if I forgive that person, what I'm doing is that I'm just kind of like accepting that what they did is right. And that's not the right word she used, but that's my way to say, I can't remember the word. So she's like, we got to understand that forgiving is not about them, it's all about us. Because and there's this quote that says, not forgiven is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So I think that's very funny. So she
Yes.
said, in order, I mean, you need to, or let's just think about a little example. Like we have this argument with someone, or we, not even someone that we know. Let's say that we meet someone on the street that cuts us off, or we're driving and someone makes something what we will consider to be stupid and stuff. And we just go into that, oh my God, that person, and he's an idiot, or whatever we want to say about this person. And we go and we build up on that. And we go around the whole day and we do not let go of that person. We keep telling it to every single person we meet. We are just feel all those that builds up in our body. We are the ones that are making harm to ourselves. The other person might not even think about that. They're just going on their own. They might not even have thought that you were sitting
Yes,
in your
they
car, or
didn't
they were.
realize.
Yeah. So we are the ones that are. We could just let it go, right? And yeah, so I don't know. There's another thing, but I don't know if I'm talking too much, Moni. There's another thing I thought about gratitude and forgiveness, but we could talk forever.
Okay. This has been like beautiful. Thank you so much. Like I love how we ended up talking about forgiveness. It's like it's so cool. So as we reach towards the end of our session, what what final remarks do you want to tell people about gratitude? What comes to your heart?
Oh, I love that you said heart. I have two things. One of them is a quote. I have so many quotes, so many things that I have read. It says, gratitude is the memory of the heart. So sometimes at
Oh,
the
I've never heard that.
It's beautiful. I believe it's from a French philosopher or something. Because when I did Gratitude in Motion, I would just put together all these quotes that I could find about gratitude and make small pieces of paper for people to pick up from a glass and stuff. So, gratitude is the memory of the heart. So, the heart is also being, scientifically proven. It's a very intelligent organ. It has, it's about 5,000 times, the whole magnetic field of the heart it's more than 5,000 times bigger than our brains. So it can reach a lot. And so when we think about gratitude being the memory of the heart, and sometimes maybe get into the practice at the end of the day, we're writing or thinking, we don't even have to write. Let's just think, what am I grateful for today? And just think that you're digging deep into your heart. Maybe begin to think about how your day started, and begin to look for those things, and just create that imagery in your mind that you are connecting to your heart. Drop into the heart, because the heart knows. So allow that communication between your heart and your brain, to flow. Just drop into the heart, and if nothing comes up, it's okay. Maybe that's just what it's needed for that, that little silence, for the brain to go like, oh, am I supposed to do something now? It's just like, oh no, we're cool, everything is okay, I'm just here with my heart. That's one thing. And then the other thing that I thought about is just to share super briefly. In shamanism, the shamans, especially the shamans of South America, in Peru, the Cusco area, they have these ceremonies. They are called despachos, and despachos are like offerings. In Spanish, despachar means send something off, right? So there are despachos with different intentions, and there are ceremonies, or one particular for weddings, for funerals, for baptisms, for different things. But there is one that I learned about that is called the Aini Despacho. And Aini is, let's say, it's a spiritual, yeah, it's a way of being. It's like so. Aini means that we are in balance with the universe, that we are in reciprocity with the universe. And so if there is something that is happening in our life at the moment that we do this particular despacho, the purpose of this is kind of like take us from that path that we are currently on, and just put us where we are supposed to be. And this is a beautiful, beautiful ceremony that is done with different ingredients that they all correspond to different things. And I'm going to touch on the fears, for example. I'm going to touch on one of them
Yes,
is
yes.
beans. And the beans, they correspond to your fears. So basically what you do, you have all these different ingredients and you begin to build, you begin to paint this beautiful picture with these ingredients. And the way that you're doing this is that you are taking those beans that are a little bean, some beans right now. I'm going to blow my intention into them, but I'm going to blow with gratitude. I'm going to grow with like being super grateful for those fears. If I can name them, I name them. My fear of driving, my fear of speaking out,
Oh, wow.
my fear of, whatever fears come up, begin to name them and be grateful for them. Be grateful for the opportunities, for whatever. So I'm grateful for the things that I have learned because of this or whatever. Then we take something else and we take something that represents our personal power. So I'm grateful for all the times that I have felt empowered, that I have felt like I am good enough and all those things. And then you're blowing that intention, and so this is a ceremony that is an offering. You're sending off to the universe your gratitude. You're not asking. There's another thing that represents your health, that represents your the love in your life. So you are, this is the way that you begin to get in alignment with the universe, according to the shamans. You do it with the gratitude for all the protection, for all your fears, which, all everything until now, all the sweetness in your life, all the love, all the guide, the masters, all the things that you have got. And then you put it all together and you send it off. That's, I'm not going to go more into details, but so that's what we say.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, that is like so powerful. I have a question. So, if I'm like, I loved listening to this since the other day that we were chatting, I was like, oh, that is so interesting, but I haven't done it. So, let's say if tonight or this week or the next new moon or full moon or whenever I want to do this type of ceremony. What I understood is basically I go to my kitchen and I have little bit of beans, little bit of rice, little bit of another grain that I have, and then basically I put them in my hand, and then beans symbolize fears, and I think of all my fears, and as I have them, as I have the beans on my mind, I am very grateful for all my fears, and I just blow into the beans the gratitude for all the fears that I have, and I name them in my head. And
Yeah, if you
then
can
I
name them,
go to
yeah.
the next grain, let's say rice. Yeah, I go for
Rice
rice,
corresponds
and
to the
then
to
I think
abundance.
about, okay, then I go to rice, and then I think of abundance and money and all the beautiful things in my life. And then I think of all the ways that I am abundant, and then I just blow gratitude into the rice in my hands, uh, thinking, naming in my mind all the things that I'm grateful for in the area of abundance in my life. Basically, that's what you're saying, that this is a ritual, and we
That
can do it
that's
at
that's,
home
that's the
anytime because I
ceremony.
think
Now,
most of us have rice.
I would say before you go and you do it as such, I think it's like to go and find how is it that this particular ceremony is done if you want to do it as such. And I would love to help you. I would love to show you and to do it with you, because it's it has the correspondences, it has the order. But basically, when one thing that we could do at home is think about that. I mean, if it's to take something away from this particular ceremony, this particular ritual, that is that this Aini spiritual state is not like we can talk about, people talk about nirvana. Nirvana is a state that you achieve and then you're there, right? Aini is not. Aini is something that you lose, you're in balance, then something happens, you're not in balance. It's like up and down with life. Balance is a dynamic thing. We're constantly moving around and things are happening and life is happening. But the way that we come back into alignment, the way that we begin to return into alignment is with gratitude. So at the end of the day, if you're thinking, well, I am feeling in a certain way,
Oh,
I would like something better. I would like to create it. Well, what is it? Why is it that I want these things? And let's begin by getting into the practice of being grateful for all that I have. If I want more success with my business, if I want more success in my life in this particular area, let's just change the way that we are asking. And I say quote unquote, stop asking, because when we're asking, we're coming from space that we don't have it, and we're just sending that. So I'm like, I am going to be grateful for all the success that I already have, for all the success that I have already experienced. And this comes the gratitude of the heart, the memory of the heart. Let's go dig. Let's dig deeper. Go all the success that I've had in my whole life. Let's start when I was in school, when I was in high school, when I was in, when everything. Let's name as much success as I can right now and be grateful for that. And then we're sending that offering with our intention. So that's what I would say. Remember that balance, that in every moment that we feel out of alignment, gratitude can begin to bring us back to where we are meant to be so that we can move forward. That's what I would like to say.
that is beautiful. Thank you, Adriana. So now I want to ask you for a favor. Can you close your eyes for a second and
Oh
then
yeah.
put your hand in your heart?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with your hand in your heart and now your eyes closed, I want you to tell me, what does your highest self could tell Adriana in her as a piece of advice for her upcoming journey, for the next chapter in life?
What my higher self is telling me right now, I didn't.
Yes, as a piece of advice for what's coming.
Hmm. I'm smiling. Oh, the word that comes to me, what I feel is trust. Trust.
Trust.
Yeah. Trust that you are on the right way. There's a lot of things happening in my life right now. Projects that are really pushing me to go beyond my comfort zone. And that's what comes to me. Like, trust and keep moving.
Trust and keep moving. That's a
Mhm.
beautiful message. Thank you.
Mm.
Like, you can open your eyes now.
I feel like staying here, like,
Yes, I realized that. I'm like, oh, now she's gone to another. She's like, oh, she's just
now she's
meditating or
traveling in
something.
the world of the
That
future.
is so beautiful. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, come back, come back. That is beautiful. Trust yourself. So if we look back at our conversation, I love the thread because we started with gratitude, then we went into forgiveness, and then we're closing with trust,
Mm,
which is absolutely beautiful. It's a very nice thread of emotions and messages.
mm.
So where can people find you if they want to know more about you and your work and upcoming workshops? Like, where can they find you?
Well, right now, what I would say is the best way would be on Facebook through the Yogini with Adriana. Because
Hmm.
I'm in this transition right now. My coaching, my all the different things are just not something that I am promoting at the moment in any way. So I'm really focused on this season that it's starting with workshops and things with Yogini. So it will be Yogini with Adriana, and I'm in shaman school. So I'm
Awesome.
also a very dedicated student right now. But I do, yeah, I would love to, yeah, to receive connections, to connect with people through
To
that page.
connect.
So that would be awesome.
Yes, yes. And don't worry, I'll add all your details in the podcast description so that then people
Yes,
can find you if they want to.
yes, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you in the show. It's been absolutely beautiful conversation. And I want to ask you for a favor. Oh, before we go, well, basically, this is a little ritual that I've been doing that I love. Before I close every show, I just drop into my heart center and then I reconnect to love. And then I go through a mental exercise of sending love from my heart all the way through the world so that it reaches a lot of people. So it could be my honor if you can do that today. But before we go into that,
Oh,
you told me about the power of love and frequency of love. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
oh, when we were talking about the thing with power versus force, that, yeah, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yes, love it, love it. And Moni, may I say one little thing before that? Because when I was talking about all that
yeah.
with this despacho, this ceremony, we were going in, when I was kind of going to the whole forgiveness and gratitude. So, very quickly, what I would like to say is the reason why I shared that particular ceremony and the example of the fears is that in order to forgive something, and we didn't say it like clearly, but I just want to highlight that it was my example, my way of saying, if we cannot let go of anything in our life before we're grateful for it. We have to be able to let go of a fear, to send that fear off, but with the awareness of what this fear has been serving me in the past and with gratitude for those lessons. So that was the whole thing. I really feel it was, that's the reason why I shared that thing. And
Beautiful.
and Power versus
Yeah,
Force
thank
is
you for
this book.
clarifying.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Power versus Force is a book that talks about, the author, what he did was that he calibrated, let's say, like he measured the frequency of different emotions. And then he created this scale of consciousness or map of consciousness that starts at the level of, oh my God, I believe it's 20 in the bottom. And then it
It
goes to
starts,
700.
yeah.
20, and I believe 20 is the emotion of grief. And then it goes up and it has the level of 200 is courage. And so below 200 is fear, is grief, is different emotions. And so that's what he classifies or what he tags, let's say, as force, because force is something that we apply and power is something that we are. So courage is the level of 200. It calibrates at this. That's the frequency is 200. And then it goes up and then comes joy and peace and love goes at the frequency of 500. Gratitude, funny enough, is not on that scale. But I remember when I looked at it, it's like, why is gratitude not there? And I read that gratitude calibrates at the same frequency that of love, which is around the 500. So in this book, he says that one single person that is vibrating at the frequency of 500 or above can bring up to 700 and can bring 750,000 people up the level of courage. And courage is that limit between is what separates force from power. So I thought it was very beautiful. Um,
So, yeah, so you're saying that if there's 750,000 people at the vibrational frequency of 200 that
or
equals
below.
the emotion of courage, if one or below, if one person in the frequency of love basically sends love and
Mhm.
expands that consciousness, it can bring 750,000 people up.
Up
That's
to
what you're saying. Yeah,
to
what you're
200.
saying.
And I love it. So I want to believe that that is true. I chose to believe that that is true. I love that part. And I think it's very beautiful for
Okay.
us to remember that our heart has a magnetic field that is, again, 5,000 times bigger, more powerful than our brain. So it's very beautiful. And it would be a pleasure to send that. I hope I don't get
Awesome.
lost geographically, in the
Yes, please.
geography of the world, Moni. I'm going to start with Denmark. So is that okay? I'm in
Just go
Denmark.
ahead. Yes,
Okay, so I need to
start
close
in
my eyes
Denmark.
to
I
kind
always
of.
start in Malaysia because I'm in Malaysia.
Okay, I'm gonna start here from Denmark. I'm gonna close my eyes because I'm going. That's what makes me believe that I'm not gonna get lost in our planet. Okay, so I'm sending love from Denmark, and it begins to expand from this my little office, kitchen office here, and it's going beyond this little town where I live, going past the whole Denmark, Scandinavia, going up to Northern Europe, Russia, that's where Asia starts, right? And going all the way down, stopping to give Monica a big hug in Malaysia, going all the way down, Asia, Africa, Australia, all those beautiful islands down there, New Zealand, coming all the way up through South America, stopping in Central America and Costa Rica, sending lots of love to my friends and family there as well, and going up, continuing to North America, Mexico, Canada, the United States, Greenland. Oh no, Greenland, that's not Greenland. Greenland is on the other side, but it's the same. Up there, Canada and Europe up there. And keep going a little more around and coming back to
Amazing.
Monica in Malaysia. Mm, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Adriana. Feeling the love. So it's been a pleasure having you in the show. I hope you had a good time. It was beautiful to hear all your insights. And yeah, sending you much love your way too.
Oh, thank
Thank
you. It
you.
was beautiful, 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 Moni. Mwah. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.
Kisses, kisses.